Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it happens to be where you are today, all because I started off wrong. So, anyhow, good to see everybody today. If you haven't been with us before, I think everybody has, but just in case you haven't, I'm Doug. This is Wood Spun Around, and we're going to have a good time today. We're going to come up with somewhat of a vase shape and then do a little bit of coloring on it. So, that's where we're going to go. Before we get started, I'm going to bring in all my friends, all three of them. Here's Miss Ruby, Mr. Wayne, Mr. Todd. Everybody's here. Good to see you guys. Good to have you. They'll be a great help to me, and I hopefully to you guys in the chat as well. So I'll put them back in the background. Let me show you what I'm going to work on first, and then we'll get going. This is a piece of hackberry, very light colored wood. You see, that's a limb coming out of the side. This was a piece, the limb kind of branched off. It's got some minor checks in both ends, not anything major. We'll deal with those as we go along. But this is what we're going to use for our base shape. And then we'll, because it is so light, we'll put some color on it that'll hopefully bring out some of the grain. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start getting this loaded up. And we're going to let the fight begin as to who is going to uh, share with us who all's in the chat.
Oh, we
Fight.
don't have fights, Doug.
Well,
No.
I was about to say if Ruby's in here, there's no way I'm having a fight with her.
Ruby and I just try to stay quiet until Wayne just takes over the reading.
There you go.
Wayne does it so well. Why would we want to interfere?
Now, before we start, Doug did say that he'd picked a piece of wood out for this, but then he realised it was cross grain and not end grain.
That's a fact.
But this particular piece he's got on here, seeing as how he's got that limb that's been cut off, it's going to be a mixture of end grain and cross grain.
Well,
So
except that it goes off. It's coming out of the tree at that kind of at a sharp angle going up. So
yeah,
it's yes, it'll be some, but very little.
there'll be
Very
a
little.
little bit of cross grain in there, which should show some nice different grain in there.
I hope.
It
Okay,
will be
hope.
pretty.
let's get down to it. And Jennifer is in here first. Good evening, Jennifer. How are you doing? Obviously, Ruby's here. Michael McEwen is in. Norman Greenwell. Good morning, Pete. This will probably jump all the way till I get to the bottom. Chris Charlton's in. Evening, Chris. Yep, here we go. It's started jumping. I'll have to go all the way back up again.
Well, next on the list would be Doug Bennett.
No, is it Doug Bennett? Doug Bennett, Dale's in, Old Man River. Todd at Glen Cove. Mike Evans, Roger Wallum. Mike's in from Dancers. Thomas Kenny.
And Roger Wallum.
Yeah, I think I just mentioned Roger, did I not?
It's possible. I'm old.
Spun by Green Jeans is in. Mike Hugh from Ilminster is in. Zed's here. Good evening, Zed. Jim Selby is here. Alien Leader. I'm still going down. Vinnie Charlton. Oh no, that's a good one. Todd Lahines. I'll go with that. If I pronounce that wrong, I totally apologise, Todd. Clinton Wood Dancers. Tim Ponder. Anthony Green. The Small Woodlot.
Did you get Haley?
No, I was just coming to Haley. Good evening, Haley. I'm still going down. Al's in. Hi, Al. Ronald Todd. I think that's me nearly at the bottom. If I have missed you, I totally apologise for that.
Good to have everybody.
Oh, Zed started.
Surely not.
Yeah. I caught my son chewing on an electrical cord. I grounded him till he conducts himself properly.
Oh, me.
Well, we wouldn't want him to get high or anything.
Right. Todd has said his surname is Laginus, not Lahinus. Laginus.
Dance with the Aardvark says it's just a phase he's going through.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Still single phase?
Yeah.
Well done, Zed.
Yeah.
I met Todd in person up in Dayton a couple weeks ago. We had a good time.
Turnin' and Learnin' has joined us.
All right, turning.
Good evening and welcome.
Just using my little spindle roughing gouge, and I'm getting it cleaned up here. There's that branch. That's going to be really nice.
Yeah,
Yes, it will.
I thought it might be.
Yeah.
I am not too bad at the moment. Thank you, Jennifer. Oh, God. Mike has said you need to bring him down to earth, Zed. Oh,
All right.
That's really hard for those of us who are aliens.
Let's see.
Now you have to decide which is going to be the bottom and which is going to be the top.
I think I'm going to go with my first thought. I was going to make this the bottom, and I think that's where I want to stick. That'll keep most of that in. It'll be in no matter what, but that'll keep that knot in the fat part, which should be fine.
and Todd has said that's a little spindle roughing gouge.
Yeah, it's my little one.
Yeah, I have one that size, and it does work very efficiently.
Yeah, they do a great job.
Yeah, Raymond Wise has just come in, and Dale has said he went to 8th grade in Dayton, Ohio.
Okay.
Turnin' and Learnin', what is your first name, please? Would you put it in the chat? Now, did you say what type of wood this was, Doug?
I'm pretty sure it is. It's hackberry.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that was me just breathing out because of what Zed's just put in. Sasquatch is always annoyed that he gets confused for Bigfoot. Yeti never complains.
Putting in an ever so slight dovetail. These Nova jaws really don't have an internal dovetail, but I put just a slight bit on my tenons. Seems to help a little bit.
And
Yeah, it's quit.
Turnin' and Learnin' has indicated his first name is Lanny. Welcome, Lanny.
Hey,
Hi,
Lanny.
Lanny, glad to have you. Well, I looked down there 3 times. And it's still too big.
Todd and Glenn Cove said 8th grade, the best 3 years of my life.
Somehow I understand that.
And Jack Jecker has just come in from Victoria, Texas.
You mean Jacques?
Is that not what I said?
No, I think you said Jacka.
No, I said Jacques Jecker.
Okay.
All right. Now we get to have a little fun. I didn't, but sharpen it. But we're gonna start with the skew. Let me get a little water on my stone, and to sharpen my skews, I just put a little water on my diamond stone, find my bevel. I kind of brace my elbow, the handle on my elbow, so I can keep it fairly flat. Just a few strokes back and forth, flip it over. Same thing there. That's it.
Clint is from Pasadena in Texas.
Now, Lanny is asking, is there any reason you can't use a skew for making your tenon when turning cross grain? It always gets a bit grabby on him, but he loves how easy it is to make the tenon.
I usually do my final shaping with the skew.
Yeah, I do too, but I think it's because I approach it from the tailstock and towards the headstock as opposed to from the side.
Heather's just come in. Evening, Heather.
Hey Heather, I do a little of both, from the side and from the end. Like I said, I'm only doing the final shaping. I usually have it down to size already. I will use my skew like this, not on a bowl, but
Now, I think he did say cross grain, so I think he was
right.
talking about a bowl.
Yeah.
Peter's put in that he does use the skew as a negative rake scraper to sharpen the tenon.
Yeah.
And Zed has just put his link in for his premiere later on this evening.
Great. And if anyone hasn't seen Mike Sims' latest posting, he's got some very interesting videos on dances with aardvarks.
He does amazing work.
He certainly does.
Some of it is so mathematical that it just does my head in. But some of it, what he's doing right now, it's good stuff.
Yes, it is.
It's all good. I don't mean to say some of it's not. It's all good.
Some of it
All
is
right.
just over your head. That's what you mean, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely.
He'll do some things that he goes through and explains it step by step, and the video goes off, and I'm thinking to myself, now what did he just do? It's just beyond me. Just beyond me. Let's put in a no cut line. That
Don't
just lets
worry,
me
Mike.
know.
We obviously like what you're doing and what you put up online.
Absolutely.
Lucy's in.
Hi, Lucy.
Hey, Lucy.
How come you're not taking Andy out for dinner, Lucy? It's his birthday today.
Oh, dear.
I haven't been on Facebook today. I didn't know that. There it is. Switch over to my spindle gouge.
Pete said, sometimes when Mike is explaining the geometry, I just take myself into the corner of the workshop and put my dunce hat on. And I've got to say, Pete probably made his own dunce hat.
Probably.
Chris Charlton said, I wish Mike would put subtitles for his Brummie accent. Oh, Lucy said that they have been out, but it's a school night, so it was an early one.
Okay. Lower my tool rest just a bit. There we go.
I don't know what it is about you gentlemen, and math. I really liked math going through school. It's one of my favorite subjects.
Oh, mine too. But what Mike does, just it's beyond anything that I ever did.
I think
Yeah,
this is my background with the ornamental turning.
Yeah.
I think a lot of stuff that Mike, I'm probably wrong in saying this, but it gets more into calculus than maths.
Yeah.
Calculus is a part of math.
Yes, I know it is, but
It's a high form of math.
I'm just sticking on basic arithmetic.
Okay, if you insist. Lanny says he doesn't even like to draw what he's going to make, so he sure isn't getting the calculator out.
Can't think who it was. Somebody the other day. Oh, I know who it was. I was watching. Malcolm Tibbetts has put out. He's taken all his DVDs and is putting them on YouTube now. And he was talking about calculator really comes in handy. What he was doing was a simple calculation, but he even said a calculator would make this really handy.
I did a few classes with Malcolm. He's a really nice chap.
Seems to be pretty good teacher. Enjoys talking about his art. If you haven't looked at his segmented art, it's pretty amazing stuff.
Yes.
One of the videos he talks about the piece he did for Burning Man and how people vandalized it the first night. Sad, sad, sad.
Hmm.
Mike has said he does use OmniCalc OmniCalc online and calculators a lot.
Okay.
Oh, well, thanks, Lucy. She said she thought of me last night as the news reporter was reporting from Windsor. But was
Yeah.
it Windsor in England or Windsor in Canada?
And the small woodlot has said, Doug, thanks for visiting my channel and encouraging me to keep knocking the rust off.
Absolutely. 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 That's I remember when I was just getting started with YouTube and all, and so many people said, feel free ask you any questions you might have, because that's kind of what we're about, is helping others. And so that's kind of my nature anyway, is to help other folks get started on things. But yeah, anytime.
And Peter said, I find pen and paper creating lists in the workshop is essential these days. All I need now is a way of reminding myself where I put them.
Well, I'll tell you, Pete. I know exactly where they are. They're with the ones that I can't find as well. They've probably gotten together.
It's kind of like my Banksia pods and my wedding band.
Yeah,
I've got a chip out right there.
And probably along with the single socks as well that you usually tend to find.
Oh, I know where they go. There's a gremlin that lives in the dryer that eats socks.
Lucy was referring to Windsor, Ontario. Yes, we do get a very nice view of Detroit from across the river here. It's not very far. You could hit a golf ball across the river. And Lanny says he's looking for a legitimate mentor to show him things. Anyone interested in living in Southern Illinois? He's taking apps. So if you live down that way, let them know here in the chat. Another way to learn, Lanny, would be to find through the AAW where there's a local club in your area, and they usually have a number of mentors who can help you out.
Sure do.
That's the same problem as Pete. So he makes a big list of things to do to make his shop more organized. Now he can't find where he put the list.
All right. I don't know about anybody else, but I spent super exciting morning today cutting my sandpaper. That sounds exciting, doesn't it?
I think you were the only one, Doug.
Probably. I
And
buy my sandpaper. This is Indesa Rhino grip. It's the white Rhino paper. I buy it in 3 foot by 3 foot sheets, and then cut it down to these 2 by 2, 2 inch by 2 inch. Consequently, I've got Velcro back sandpaper. I'm almost ashamed to tell you, I get it for like 6 cents a piece.
now Pete is passing you a compliment, Doug. He's got to say that was superb skew work.
Well, thank you, sir.
We don't want him to get a swollen head, Pete, so we don't give him
Well,
a whole lot.
don't worry about that. I know better. I know it's really not that good a skew work.
No, I didn't think it was that bad.
If it was all that good, I wouldn't have to sand.
Well, that varies with the wood.
Well, somewhat. I think I've got a chip out right here. I bet I do. I'm going to stop and check. Yeah, it's some of those little cracks that are coming through.
And you're planning on doing some color yet too, right, Doug?
Yep.
So I would think a little sanding would benefit you on that too, in case that wood was overly burnished from that skew.
Exactly.
True. Now, Pete, Lucy's asking if you're going to be at Yandles the end of February, half term.
Pete was just at Yandles.
Yep.
And the floor was giving way on him. I've already watched the video, Pete. It's great. It's a beautiful piece of mallee burl that he turned and couldn't quite get it. Well, he couldn't even get close to finishing because the floor was giving away underneath him.
Yeah, he went through 12 bowl gouges that all need sharpening.
Yep.
That's on a piece of wood like that's that hard and possibly has a lot of silica in it. That's when I really like using the carbides.
Yeah. Now, Mike is saying in one of Costas, that's Costas Anarchus videos, he has a sheet of mesh sanding paper that would carpet a large room with. I wonder how he got that.
I would think from the factory.
Karsten's in. Good evening, Karsten.
Hey, Karsten, how are things over your way? I was talking about you the other night.
Oh, nothing good, I hope.
Oh, definitely it was good.
So Lucy was wondering if Pete was going to be there for the Record Tower weekend at Yandles.
Yeah, Colin is scheduled for the 28th of February, apparently.
Lucy asked who that unfamiliar voice is. And that's me, Todd at TLF Works.
Well, she might mean me.
Well, she's used to hearing you, though.
This
I
is
get to come in every once in a while.
probably about my 10th time in here.
Yeah.
But, you know, I catch myself listening.
You have trouble getting a word in edgewise between the three of us, right, Todd?
It's more difficult than you would think at times, but it's well worth it.
Right. Mike is asking, talking of Costas, whatever happened to those Make a Weekend videos that someone used to put on? Those were great. That was JP Woodwork and Carl.
AGK.
Carl Jacobson.
No, with the Carl Jacobson. It was JP and Carl Jacobson that used to put the all day videos. It wasn't the weekend videos. It was all day lives. Started at about 10 a.m. UK time and went through till 1 a.m. the following morning. That UK time.
They called it the creative something. I don't remember what it was.
Creative Makers. No, not that was.
No. That was the podcast.
Yep.
I can't remember what it was called now, which is unusual because I was in every one.
Yeah, just about.
And Todd wants to know if you had that boil water advisory the other day.
Yeah, so I woke up Sunday morning to the advisory, and then yesterday afternoon about 3:00, I think it ended, and so we went through all the procedures of clearing out the water in the house and whatnot yesterday evening. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, I have ice in the ice maker I need to dump.
Now, Pete says he's going down to Yandel's that weekend, or this weekend as well, for the Harvey Tool launch.
Oh, they're starting
and
to
for
Harvey tools
Colin's
now.
demo. Yeah, when I was at Harrogate, I was surprised to see the one Harvey lathe that you pushed a button and the ways just extended out another several feet.
Oh no, that was that not the Woodfast lathe on the
I
Simon
thought-
Hope stand?
I
It's
thought it was
basically it's basically the same lathe as the Rikon 3070.
Yeah.
It was a huge lathe, I have to say.
It
that.
is, and not a bad price. I think it was about £3.5 grand pounds. That is.
Yeah. It's I'm amazed how inexpensive that lathe is.
Yeah, there was certainly the one. I didn't see the Harvey one. It was the Woodfast one that I saw at Harrogate on the Simon Hope stand.
Now, you're going to texture before you color?
Yes. Just driving this spiral and texturing tool straight into the wood. Want a nice, doesn't have to be super deep, but I want a good impression all the way from groove to groove that I turn with the skew. And I am going to burn those two lines. Oh yeah, got a nice spiral in there. Gonna hit that real quick.
If you burn those lines, that keeps the color from going into the parts that you don't want it to go into.
Yes.
Jim Selby's going to leave because he's got work to do.
All right, Jim. Good to see you today. Not quite enough. I'm just hitting this with a little 320 just to take the fuzzies off. Not 320, 240. Then I'll check it, make sure I didn't take off all my texturing as well.
And Michael has put in that it was the virtual craft festival that we used.
That's it. That's it.
Yep.
When those came around, that was my entire Saturday. I would get up, go to the computer, and I didn't leave except to use the bathroom and grab something to eat.
Mine too.
Me too.
Little conversation starter.
Now you're spraying this with what?
Conversation starter.
Sanding sealer.
I guess it's not as funny as it used to be, Wayne, is it?
No. I mean, that came about probably 3 or 4 years ago
Yeah.
when Ashley used to come into my lives on a regular basis, and she always used to say, "What's that you're using?" And JP always used to say, "It starts conversations."
That's it.
Now, the small woodlot says the only issue he has with this channel is the timing. He's still working and can only listen.
I
But
understand.
Right.
you can always go back and watch it later, you know.
Absolutely.
And if anybody does go back and watch it later, that gives you the opportunity to put a like in there or make a comment.
Yes, comments are always good. There have been a couple of people here recently who do lives, who did some experiments, both with the live and with videos, and people who come back after a live and put a comment, not in the chat, but in the comment section.
Yeah.
It really does make a difference. So I appreciate the comments that we get.
Well, Heather says she can only listen too because she's usually at work.
Exactly.
Right. And Mike has said there's an Aussie YouTuber called Pete's Tools. This week he's testing the chainsaw things that you can use on angle grinders. Warn you not to use them. It's a good watch.
Yeah,
Yes, they are a bit on the dangerous side.
I found I've used like on what Doug is doing right now. I've used a regular chainsaw, but there is a technique to doing it that makes it safe. And if you've not done it or seen somebody do it and explain it, then by all means don't do it. For example, the key to it is you've got to make sure that when the chainsaw is touching the wood, you're on slow speed and the lathe is going in reverse.
No, I prefer. I have got to say, I prefer if I'm using an angle, the 4-inch angle grinder on any wood turning, I will have a proper wood carving disc on there, usually an Arbitec one.
2 handles with a guitar string in between is what I used. And I don't touch the air. I try not to touch the guitar string after I've used it. It will be hot.
And the other thing is, if you are using that type of thing, guitar strings, pieces of copper wire, anything like this, make sure you put handles on them. Do not hold on to the wire itself.
Absolutely. Now,
I have-
Zed says that he's got a good 2-inch scar on his stomach from one of those grinder tool chainsaw things. Thankfully, it looks worse than it was, but he concurs. Don't use them.
Yeah, don't use them. Now, Mike has said the only safety warning on the 9-inch, he meant that 9-inch chainsaw disc, is to keep the plastic away from babies to avoid suffocation. Isn't that ridiculous?
Now, the small woodlot is, was it me you were asking about my channel and do I turn? I have been known to turn a little bit.
Once in a while.
And I do have a YouTube channel, but I don't put out regular YouTube stuff like these gentlemen do. Mainly because I'm busy turning or teaching.
So I'll do a little advertisement, I guess, for Worldwide Wood Turners tomorrow afternoon. tomorrow evening. Was at 6 or 7 o'clock Central Time. And if you want to see some of the stuff that Ruby makes, a lot of times she will show her stuff in the gallery. And she does just absolutely remarkable work.
Oh, thanks, Todd. I have my
my
own personal fan club.
Yes.
You have several fans in there, Ruby. You know that.
Yeah.
One's in the
What I'm
chat.
going- I'm just going to put the link into the for anybody that doesn't know about it. The Worldwide Woodturners
Yes.
group and web page. I'm going to put a link in to the web page. It's a fantastic group of woodturners from all over the world. Usually they have a meeting every Wednesday evening. UK time, you can pop in around about 11 p.m. and join in with a chat. There's usually a lot of chat goes on, and then they have you can stick your hand up to show off work that you've done fairly recently, and after that there tends to be one of the members of the group will do a demonstration, which is a non-paid demonstration, and it's purely done from members of the group. Then they're usually very, very good. Usually very, very good. And it's a brilliant group. Come and join in.
Trying to remember who gave that demo last week. Who was?
That was Jeff.
Oh no, the week before last. Darn it.
Oh, that was Doug.
Doug.
Oh,
yeah.
was it? Oh, okay. Doug,
So there's the link to it's worldwidewoodturners.org. And if you go to the page, about halfway down the page, a bit to the left of the page, it's got events, and you can click on that link when it's close to the group meeting. Click on that link, and you can get into the Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little box that says click to go to meeting.
Yes.
And,
yeah.
This is a great example of what a little bit of color on a piece of wood can do. There you see the raw wood, top and bottom, and it's fairly plain, really. It's got some little dark spots in it, but you put a little color on it, and you can see how that grain has been shown up even better. There's one of those dark streaks going through it. There's another, or several others. There's that knot from that branch that was coming out. It's just amazing how a little color really does go a long way. And then, like right along here, I've got just a little of that blue above my burn line. I can come back in with some fine sandpaper. I'll hit it with some 240 very carefully, just right on that edge, just to clean it up.
You know, another option would be to make the top and bottom a solid blue and not sand it back. So
Absolutely.
It's a darker blue.
In fact, that's a great idea, Ruby. Now that you said that, I don't have to sand nearly as much, but I still want to sand it just a little bit.
Now, again, I'm going to go back to the Worldwide Woodturners group because next year there is a live event happening, which is happening. I think it's called Level Up. Am I right in that, Doug?
That's correct.
Yeah, it's called Level Up. It's happening in Wisconsin.
Correct.
There are going to be, again, it's going to be members of the club who are doing the demonstrations and instruction and things like this. And there's even a couple of people from the UK going across to do demonstrations. Yeah, I think Mike Clarkson's one of them.
Yes.
And Paul Hannaby is the other one.
Martin.
Yeah, that ought to be a great time. Yeah, Martin,
sorry.
Brian's
just come in. Evening, Brian.
Hi, Brian. I like the way the
Oh,
spirals
hey.
are going in a totally different direction than the wood grain.
Yeah, yeah.
And the color
And I could have,
really brings that out.
yes. Yeah, without the color, you really didn't see all of that. So this is it makes for an interesting piece for sure.
So level up will be happening September of 2026.
Yes, perfect. There is a cost. It's 160 US dollars. That does it includes one meal each of the days. Does not include your accommodations. There for those who like to camp, there are campgrounds close by. There are lots of motels, hotels close by. Um, there are some Airbnbs in the area. And you know, I just did that with no glove on, and so that dye went totally through. I've got a blue finger now. So anyway, it's going to be a good time. Going to be a good time. The last night they're talking about a pig roast. Um,
Yeah, I saw that talking about the hog roast on the last night. The free meal, I think, is the evening meal on both days.
yes, yep. So you'll
You
get
know,
your, especially if you're in a motel or hotel, you can get your breakfast there most likely, or inexpensively. I'm thinking I'm going to camp on the grounds, which is primitive camping, no water, no electricity. Um, I'm going to do that in a tent, and I'll have some what I call pop top food stuff. I can just pull the top off and eat it straight out of the can.
yes.
Um, yeah, it's not the greatest, but I'll get a one good meal every day, and I may go into town and get a decent lunch.
You know what, Doug? I'm going to apologize for suggesting the blue because I think a darker blue was what I visualized.
Well, don't apologize. That's
So,
only one coat. Plus, there is a darker blue. There is a darker blue. That was the sky blue, which usually does come out awfully dark.
And
There's the other one.
and you're fighting that sanding sealer that you had put on, even though you sanded
Right,
afterwards.
right.
That dye isn't going to soak in as well
Not as
sure,
deep, is it?
as deep.
no.
Had you done the outer edge colors before the sanding sealer, then that would work. And then you want the sanding sealer in there where all the texturing is, because you want only the color to go into the grooves of the texturing, not on the outside of it. And so ends up being a double-edged sword in this case.
Yeah.
And Door 60 has joined us.
Hey,
Evening.
Dor.
I'm glad you made it.
Right, what am I looking for here? Roger Wallum has said he's doing a segmented class at Level Up.
Yeah.
Chris Charlton has said, could someone please put in a link for the small woodlot? Thanks. Ask and you shall receive.
Doug, why don't you try turning the lathe on at a low speed and doing the airbrushing? And start at the right side and move to the left. Okay, go the other way.
That looks to be working really well.
Yes, I think so as well. Yep. Let that
you
run
need
for a
a
minute.
little more by that burn line on the headstock side, right there.
Okay.
With any luck, that overspray that went over towards the texturing might wipe off a little bit yet, because you didn't sand that
Well, and
sanding
it's
sealer
wax
off as
too.
much. Yeah.
It's wax as well, but I don't think it's going to be a bother. actually. I think it's going to be A-okay, even with the little touch of overspray. I love that I did this with no gloves on.
I've gone to meetings and had fingers that looked like that.
Well,
At this point, I'd almost put a second burn line in on the inside edge of both of the ones you did.
Now, Mike has said, don't pick your nose, Doug.
no, not yet. I'll wait a little while.
I was actually thinking more of when somebody asks you,
That's not bad.
what fingers like that? What on earth have you got up your nose?
Oh, well, I'm letting that sit just a minute. We'll fill that reservoir up with alcohol and spray it out. Does an awfully good job of cleaning up.
Enchanted Wood Design says he always pays more attention to the piece and forgets gloves and dust mask.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm with you there.
Most of us are guilty of that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Seems
and one of the things with the coloring, you can have just like Stuart Farini says, just have a play with it. If after all this expert advice that I took, if I didn't like it, it's easy enough to take it off.
Exactly.
I can take a bowl gouge or a skew or a spindle gouge, whatever, and just zip, and it's gone. It's just gone. So you said a second burn line just to the outer ends?
To the inside.
To the inside of, okay.
Wait a minute. Let's take a vote between the four of us. What do you think, Todd?
I sort of liked what you said, coming towards the center from both ends, just a tad. Might set that color off again, especially on the bottom, but I'm not sure.
What do you think?
To tell you the truth, I'm just liking this the way it is.
How about starting with one line on the bottom end and see how that goes? Maybe a little more than that. Yeah.
I like that.
Yep. Now burn it.
I just had an ugly comment come across my mind, but it was all in jest. So, all right, go. There we go. Well, obviously didn't turn that speed up high enough.
I'm not seeing any smoke.
Nope. I can smell it, but no smoke. But it will now. I keep it in the groove. Oh, I know what it is. It's the wax.
Oh,
there. Now you got it.
Shoo!
Caught that wax on fire.
I'd reburn the line to the left, so it's dark as well.
Instead of blue, looks a little blue now.
Right.
Let's see if we can.
And Rob
Blue
has joined us. Hi, Rob.
Hey, Rob.
Come on, press down. Press down.
There we go. I can tell as soon as that wax goes, because it starts to grab and pull it back toward me.
Okay, now, what do you think of that, Wayne?
Right. Now, to tell you the truth, what I do now is the same thing on the top, but after that, I would actually take the bit in between the burn lines back into plain wood.
Oh, you, I like that too, Wayne. I was thinking it's almost turning into a bead.
Not that wide, Doug.
No, about the same size as you got at the bottom, Doug.
Yep.
Okay, that's about what I got. Yep. And then you said make the wood in between plain?
Yeah, to put the burn mark on first.
Yeah.
Because you've still got a bit of a spiral on those two areas. But what I do is after I've done the burn, just take down the bits in between the two burn lines back down to plain wood, and that'll give sort of 3 lots of contrast.
And burn the other line as well.
In the middle of all this, Copper Owl Wood Turning and Andy, the Valley Wood Turner, have joined.
Hi, Andy.
Andy, copper. Yeah, this one's really got some wax in it.
Oh yes, it is. I think I mentioned this earlier on, but it is Andy's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Andy. Now that you're all of 29.
That's not 29 foot tall, but he is getting there.
Well, when you compare him to Lucy.
Mike suggests that you add a bit of gold leaf, Doug.
If I had any.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Wayne was correct.
you'll have to reburn that line.
Yeah, I think so. But that's okay. I can do that.
Anybody you think I knew what I was talking about?
Chris wants to know if it's too late for a captive ring.
Yes. It was too late before I put the wood on.
And Zed is saying, well, shucks, this is starting to look like art.
Well, you know, every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut just every once in a while.
And Dale says, now for a gloss finish. Oh, I like that.
This turning by committee is not too bad every once in a while.
The collaborative pieces.
That's it.
Yeah.
Turning by committee, you know? Every once in a while it comes out a mess, but this one.
Yeah. Who says committees are wrong?
Wow, that was hiding.
Yes, it was.
They don't always turn out like a camel.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Sometimes they do, but sometimes.
Now, Mike is asking who in the UK does 3D printing and would print up 4 gears. He has the printable files.
Try Steve at SK Crafts.
That's who I was just going to suggest.
He does a bunch of it, and he's good at it.
The only other person would be Ben Green.
Doesn't Steve Twaddell do some?
No, I don't think Steve does.
No.
And if he did, I don't think he does it anymore.
You may not. You may not. There we go. Got rid of that blue. I'll touch that up. Not a problem. Oh, not like I'm afraid to get blue on my fingers.
And Ray says, very cool piece, Doug. Work is getting busy again. You all have fun.
All right. Thank you.
Don't work too hard, Ray.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Haley has also said Rob from Klingspor does 3D printing.
Okay.
And Pete says Steve at SK Crafts, Klingspor Rob, or Lucy, as long as you don't interfere with the brownie making.
Let's see. I want to go the other direction and slow it down. I don't need to go 1700 RPMs to do this.
I had some of Lucy's brownies at Harrogate.
I was supposed to get some, and somehow you guys ate them all, and I didn't even get a taste.
Yeah, well, that was probably my fault because she actually put me in charge of the box of brownies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She was trying to blame Mark.
Could have been him too. He who should not have been eating them at all.
No, we were actually sitting. There was a bunch of us sitting at Emma's demonstration, and Lucy handed me the box of brownies to hand out.
Ah,
That was the wrong move.
now Mike says someone is giving him a 3D printer, but he doesn't have time for the learning curve yet. So I imagine we will be seeing some great things from him in the future.
I have come so close to getting a 3D printer a couple of times and just never have pulled the trigger. One of these days. I did finally get my laser. I love my laser. Slow back down. Turn it
I've got
off.
the laser. It's still sitting in the box, not being put together.
I'm still waiting for mine to arrive. Lewis from out east was going to give me some. You know, if you had a real fine paintbrush, that
Yeah.
little stripe on the bottom you could do with the lathe turning.
Let's
You know,
see, this
beside
way.
the burn line on the darker
Right.
blue.
Yes. The one I tried to fix and failed miserably.
You got half of it with that paper towel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half.
Well, maybe the next time you'll get the other half.
Let's turn that back on. Slow it down.
Now, Karsten is warning that 3D printing is quite the rabbit hole to fall down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So's that laser.
It can be.
Yeah, my sister Paula, I'm going to speak from my sister Paula, who has had to give up basically any type of woodworking or wood turning because
Well
of
done.
the pain in her hands. So she's gone into 3D printing, and yeah, she says it's a real rabbit hole.
Your helmet keeps getting in the way, Doug.
Sorry, I got to get close so I can.
So you can see that's a novel idea.
Well, not so much as I can see, so I can brace everything.
And Zed
All
says that all you retired people have nothing but time. Get down the rabbit hole. Ha ha. I hate to tell you, Zed, but people who are retired have less time than people who are working. Just ask anybody who's retired.
And plus, on top of that, it's the cost.
Yeah. Cost is a big factor.
You've got the cost of the 3D printer. You've got the cost of the filament.
You know, these young people laugh at me when I tell them they're going to be busier when they retire than they were when they were working. And then they come back later and say, you know, by golly, you were right.
I retired March 26th last year, and I've been way busier since then than I was the 2, 3, 4, 5 years before it.
I do understand.
Yes, so do I.
Yeah.
I'm only semi-retired.
I used to have time to go to work all day and come home and clean the house.
Yeah. Do the yard work, clean the house, chase the in-laws, the outlaws.
Cook a few meals.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dale has said retired people don't have the income either. That's exactly right.
True.
And Todd has said, and we have to reserve time in the morning and or afternoon for naps. Exactly.
Oh,
Absolutely.
shoo!
Those
After
are
that,
really important.
after that
And
shingles shot I had the other day, I slept for 2 days
all right.
for a
I'm
vaccine.
going, yeah, I'm going for mine next week.
Wow, be prepared. The
Right.
shoulder they put it in will be hurting, and you will sleep like crazy.
All right. Okay. Lucy's having to say good night.
Good night,
Night,
Lucy.
Lucy. And Pete says that retired equals busy, but having fun and refusing the dull stuff. I agree, Pete.
All right, just put a little heat on there to encourage that to dry, and that's sort of
Well, I do
dry.
like that color combo, Doug.
It worked out. It worked out really nice. That electric blue over the texture, and then the midnight blue on the two ends. And Wayne's thought of the two bare spots. That worked out really nice. I like that. So all that's left now is to hollow it and then get a good finish on it, and it'll be lovely, lovely. But that was what we intended to do today: get a vase form and then do a little texturing and a little coloring. And so that's what we've got. Any questions anybody has?
I'm just waiting to see if it's coming through. Zed said it's a beaut.
Thank you, Zed. Appreciate that.
So are you going to show the hollowing on your next live or just show us the finished product?
I'll probably show you the finished product.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got
a
other.
lot of apart from the when Doug was doing the I think it was 4 different types of hollowing. Doing
Yeah.
hollowing on a live can be a little bit on the boring side.
You can't see it.
It's
You can't
literally
see it.
boring.
Yes, it really is. I can drill so much of it, and then I have to reach in there with a tool and hollow it out, and you can't see it. I can't see it. Who was it the other day was talking about? Was it? I forget who it was. They were doing something hollow, and they said this is all by feel. I can't even see it. It was Raffin. That's who it was. What the piece he was doing was totally by feel, and that's how this will be. It'll be 90% feel because I won't be able to see. That's a small opening. It won't be not as big as what the outside is for sure. What is that? Well, if I use the right side of the ruler, I could probably tell you that's just a hair over 2 inches. My opening there will be 1.5 inches at least. I'll probably do thin wall, at least the top half of that, and the bottom. It'll be what I can reach. So yeah, I won't show the hollowing. It's dull. It's not fun to watch. So, but I should have the finished piece ready for you next week. All right. Well, let me say, I changed my camera, but I didn't change that. Good to have you guys in, Ruby. Good to have you as always, Wayne, Todd. You guys always appreciate
No
all
problem.
3 of you being here and helping out with the color commentary and answering questions and even giving advice. This was fun. The turn by committee was fun.
You can always reject the advice.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Doug, because I was feeling a little awkward there.
No, it was fun. And like I said earlier, if we got something and I just didn't like it, I'd take a skew to it and just wipe it out, no problem. Or a bowl gouge, or a spindle gouge. I'd take something to it and wipe it off.
Skew would do a better job.
Now,
Probably.
for people who haven't played with color and who haven't played with texture, get a piece of wood, whether it's a bowl blank, whether it's an end grain blank, and have a play. I know Stuart Farini on a lot of his previous videos that he did, he would use the same bowl blank
Yeah,
to work with texture, to work with color, to try different techniques. And he would do the texture, he'd do the color, have a look and see how it looked, and then wipe it off and try a different technique.
absolutely. I have
Yeah.
seen him in one video use that one piece, texture, color, the whole 9 yards, except for finishing. Gets it done, looks at it, he says, I don't like that part. Take his gouge and it's gone. And just start again.
Yep.
Or that's that technique. Wipe it off, doing the other technique. It doesn't have to be a great piece of wood. It can be construction pine. I've got somewhere, I've got a stack of construction pine blanks that I have already cut square. All they got to do is be stuck on the lathe. I can practice with that all day long. It's, it doesn't cost me a thing because it came from a construction site. It was there, it's going in the dumpster. Would have been in a landfill eventually. I got them for free, brought them home, squared them up. Now they're sitting over there waiting either to be turned into a plate or a platter or just to be practiced with. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Just having a
All
bit
right.
of giggle there. Heather has said, "Hey, Doug, you spelled color wrong in your title."
Probably.
You
I see what she said.
probably left out the U.
Always. We don't use the U so much here. Only in my name. Or in Doe.
I did do one presentation for Record Power on one of the lives where I just showed a number of pieces where, without being intimidating to someone, you could add color, you could add texturing, you could play with all of those and experiment. And it wasn't costing you anything. It was just using up pieces of wood that you had.
Absolutely. That's always fun. Hey, speaking of which, let me share something real quick with you. You may remember way back, I did a closed form bowl of catalpa, and I used chameleon powder on the top, and told you before we were done that I was going to redo it. I was going to take it off and redo it, which I did. I've redone it again.
Highlight yourself, Doug.
That might be helpful, huh? Did it again. I'd taken it to a couple of craft shows, and I brought it home. I started to put it in my store, and that orange, red, yellow chameleon color was messed up in 3 or 4 places. I just couldn't put it on the shelf. So I redid it just the other day, sanded it all back to bare wood, and now it's a blue green. See if I can get it. The blue
Looks good.
starts to show there, but
Yep.
see now I'm looking at it from this angle, and I see blue. it is sky blue. It's beautiful. But anyway, that's a redo there. I've been doing a few redos here lately. One was that walnut bowl from a board you may have seen last week or week before, whenever that was. Found it in a thrift shop, bought it for $8, brought it home, got a glue block on it as close to center as I could, and just sanded it back to raw wood, refinished it, and it came out as a gorgeous bowl. Lots of chatoyance in that walnut. It's beautiful. So I'm looking forward to putting that back in the shop. I bought it for $8. I'm gonna put it back in the shop for 24. So I've got a little profit there.
Good.
All right. Well, if there's no questions coming through, guys, it's been fun. Just remember
You're tired before you can retire.
you're exactly right, Jacques. You're exactly right. Mike, thank you so much. Dale, we'll be seeing you tomorrow. Heather as well. Zombie, hopefully I'll get to see you tonight. All right, guys, it's been a lot of fun. Anything you guys, Wayne, Ruby, Todd, anything you guys need to say before we check out for the night?
No, I'm just getting ready for doing a demo this weekend in Leamington, which is about an hour away. So
Excellent. I just had probably my best Easy Wood demo. We had a blast. One of the guys that came to see how the Easy Wood tools worked ended up buying over $300 worth
Wow.
of not of easy wood stuff, but of other turning stuff. He's coming back. I heard him say he would come back like probably this weekend and do some purchasing of easy wood tools. So that was a very good one. We had a good time. Had a real good time.
Yeah, they're
So
nice. They're nice tools to add to your repertoire of tools.
yes, they are. Yes, they are.
They
And we'll,
Definitely.
definitely have their place.
yep. And I had that very conversation with 3 or 4 different people. I told them right up front, I am not a carbide only kind of turner, but on almost every piece I do, a carbide comes into play somewhere. This piece today, carbides will be used to hollow the bulk of that. I'll do a depth hole with my drill, carbide, the number 1 hollower primarily, the finisher to finish it off, and we'll be done. So
And if you have a very dense hard wood, or you have a wood that has a lot of silica sand in it that it's pulled up from the soil, carbides will actually cut it better than regular gouges.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
saves a lot of wear and tear and sharpening of gouges.
Definitely.
A lot easier to change a $15 carbide cutter than to wear out a $150 bowl gouge and have to replace it. So,
Yep.
with that being said, thanks, guys. Thank you all in the chat for coming along. Thank you, Earworms. Appreciate it. With that, we're going to say good night, everybody.
Night
Nice.
all.
All right.